So that bass riff and that high guitar chord means it's time for Stoked on this week. I'm here with my wife, Madison.
Hello.
So we're going to talk about some things I'm super stoked about that you actually have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of these things. But it's a lot this week, so I'm going to go through it fairly quickly, maybe just play one trailer or two for people. But it's a lot of stuff. A lot of it mainstream, some of it a little niche, but we'll get into that later. So first thing that I'm super excited about is on Friday, the 14th, Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. That comes out in theaters. I'm so excited that my throat is getting all clogged up.
You should say that again. That's going to be nasty for people to listen to. Just start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning, no. So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is coming out December 14th in theaters. It's getting great reviews. I'm super excited about it. We talked about it probably a few months ago. I mentioned it on Stoked on this. So it's finally here. I'm excited. Everyone go check that out. Elseworlds, if you're still into the Arrowverse on the CW, their yearly crossover is starting literally as we record today on Sunday, and it'll be in the middle of it on Monday when this comes out. This one is pretty much where a bunch of the characters are switching places. Not 100% sure if it's like a time shift or a universe shift or what, but you know, a lot of the characters are going to be taking each other's spots, so that'll be kind of a fun thing to do. Mortal Kombat 11 got announced at the Game Awards with a little bit of a cinematic trailer. Now, I showed you a part of it, and I'm not going to play the whole trailer here just because it's very, very violent at the end. Not sure if everyone really wants to watch that.
Right.
So there's a link in the description notes to check that out.
Mortal Kombat is violent?
Who would have thought?
What?
But here's some cool things about Mortal Kombat 11. It's coming out for the Nintendo Switch, which is awesome for us because we've been playing the Switch like crazy since you got it for me for Christmas. So that's kind of cool that I can get it on that then, and we can play it together. It's going to be a time bending version of the game in the sense that they're going to be traveling back to a different time, I believe, and retconning a lot of stuff because Shao Kahn is going to be in it, but he was killed off in 9, I think, and he wasn't in X. And we know it takes place right after X because the trailer has a version of Scorpion and Raiden fighting. And Raiden has the red eyes and the red lightning, which is what happened at the end of X when he kind of went crazy and he was no longer like the goody-goody protector of Earthrealm. He was kind of like, what am I putting up with all this for? I'm a god, and just started taking everyone out and everything. So I think it's going to start right after that, and then they're going to do like a time travel deal where they go back, and then a lot of the characters are going to be retconned back into the story. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I think they did something with like universes in time in X, but I can't remember. It's been so long since I played it.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
It's so funny because remember, I don't know if you remember actually, probably, back when like the very first Mortal Kombat games came out, people were like, this is so violent and blah, blah. And I'm like, now you go back and watch it and it's like
nothing.
Blood, like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And now it's like the finishers are insane.
Yeah, like
that's my only little tidbit.
Yeah,
I know that's not a Stoked on
If you want to
this,
see an insane finisher, a fatality, watch the end of the trailer.
No thanks.
It's brutal. It's awesome. It's so good though. But yeah, it is really, really violent. I was joking with so a friend of the show, Brian Breaker. Him and Big Bane, they have their own podcast called Breaker and Bane's Power Hour. He mentioned that Mortal Kombat 11 is going to be on the Nintendo Switch, and he's excited for it. And I joked with him. I said, oh, is the blood just going to be sweat? Like, back in the day, they used to have 2 versions. The Nintendo version didn't have any blood. It was sweat that came off of them, and there were no real fatalities. It was kind of like a hard punch.
Probably a little bit more realistic. They would be sweating
They
like
would
crazy.
be sweating, but then the Sega Genesis was the bad one that had like all the arcade blood and everything and stuff. So, you know, I was joking, like, is Nintendo really going to go with the full M-rated version of this, or what's going on with that? One thing I hate about the trailer, and I showed it to you.
Yeah,
and
I agree with
I'm
it.
not going to play the whole trailer, but I'm going to play just a part of it so you can hear what I'm talking about. The song they chose makes the trailer so terrible, so awful. It sounds like Tyga woke up from a nap and made the most lazy rap song ever.
So every
and
Tyga song.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, every Tyga song. But it just doesn't fit. Like the trailer starts and it's this epic like, ooh, build up. Like the 2 guys get ready to fight, and it's like, yeah, this is a rap song. Yeah, I'm talking about Mortal Kombat. Yeah, like it's so bad. I'll play it right here real quick, just that part.
With the drum attack. You a shit talker, we got done for that. Oh, trying to fix fight, boy, you done for that. Stupid. You gonna get a bullet in your lung for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also wonder, I'm like, is your target demographic really into slow rap music?
Yeah.
Like, what made you decide to do something like that?
Because people got stoked, I think, on Mortal Kombat 9 when Skrillex made like a dubstep song for Reptile.
Right.
Because that's your demographic. Like, dubstep lends itself better to this fight because it's fast, it's intense, than a slow rap song. It's like, that just doesn't work. Big mainstream news, and I'm sure everyone's heard about so far, is Avengers Endgame trailer. We now have a trailer. We now have a name. I love the What Culture video from July that was like, Endgame will not be the name of Avengers.
But you have to say why they thought that.
They thought that because the Russo brothers came out and said the name has not been uttered in any of the movies. Right.
So they were
lying.
Right.
They blatantly lied, like directors do this day and age, because we're getting everything on the internet. J.J. Abrams does it. I don't take directors or writers' word anymore because I get it. You need to lie because people are figuring this out. It's not that hard to figure these things out. We have the source materials. We have leaked set photos. Mm-hmm. We have actors knowing where they are at what time and stuff, and like how their schedules are working out and contracts and all that.
It's a lot harder to keep up the kayfabe.
So you kind of have to just lie. Yeah, keeping up the kayfabe just can't happen anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't blame the Russos, and that's why. But I just think it's funny that like What Culture has that video. It's like, Endgame is not the name of the new, and then like a few months later it is. But yeah, I said that was one of the two I thought it was going to be, Avengers Reassembled and Avengers Endgame. I always thought if they're doing anything else than that, or I thought there was a third one I came up with, like Infinity End or the End of Infinity or something. But I think Endgame was probably my number one, where I was like,
it's like Avengers. Now it's really the end.
Now, yeah. Now we're really down there. At
we
the
promise it's actually done.
It's done. Yeah. So, or they do Avengers Forever.
Oh my
with
gosh.
a 4. It'd be great. Two Avengers, Too Furious. So yeah, Avengers Endgame came out. The trailer is amazing. I don't think you actually watched the trailer. You just listened to me watch it pretty much. And you saw my reaction.
I saw bits and pieces.
But you saw my reaction when Hawkeye shows up and in Ronin gear.
Yes.
And I was just like,
you were loving it.
I couldn't believe it. It's so cool looking. So I'm excited for it. I like it. So go check that out. I'm not going to play that trailer. I'm sure everyone's seen it by now, but I'll put a link to it in the description notes just in case you haven't seen it. Last thing I want to mention, this is the niche. This is the one that most people probably haven't heard. And you did see this. We saw it this morning. I didn't know this was coming out. So James Gunn produced a new movie coming out called Brightburn. Now, we started watching it, and it looked like the origin story of Superman.
Within the first 30 seconds, I was like, is it a new Superman movie?
And as you go on, you realize it kind of is, more realistic. So the premise, and I'll play the trailer at the end here. The premise is these people are can't have a kid, but they want to have a kid. And it's Roy from The Office, which is really, really funny. And then this asteroid hits, and there's a kid in it. Wow, it's like Superman. And they're out in the Kansas fields or whatever. And so they start raising this kid, but the music starts turning like horror music. And it's like they're realizing he's not like them. He looks like them, but he's not like them. And it's kind of showing his feats of super strength and like flight and stuff like that. But it's the realistic version of, we always assume Superman, he's got morals and integrity because he does, because he's Superman. When in reality, if an alien crashed here and was raised by humans and realized as a child, the age that you're the most angry, the age that you throw tantrums at, you realize that you are way stronger and way more godlike than anyone else around you, including your parents, and you didn't like what someone was telling you and you threw a tantrum, don't you think you'd be killing a few people and going nuts and not realizing it? So that's the whole premise of it, is like, what if Superman was realistic in the sense that he just didn't have this moral instilled in him from the get-go?
It doesn't say anything along the lines of what we're saying is accurate,
no,
though. It was just the fact that you and I know the origin story of Superman, that we were like, hey, this is a lot like Superman. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm pulling from the trailer.
Right.
And I think that's what they're meaning to convey. Now, granted, I don't know, James Gunn is his movies are pretty insane. So I don't want to speak for him, and I didn't do too much research into it. I didn't look into any interviews that he did about it, or even like a backstory or anything. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Right.
I'm sure the niche Comic-Con people know a little bit more about this than I do, but the trailer looked awesome because I was like,
It did look really good.
This is like a horror Superman, or if not even Superman, just superhero horror story.
Right.
And I thought that was super cool. So I'm gonna play that trailer at the end here. But do you like that premise, or do you think it's a little too much?
I mean, from the way it was done, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But the premise itself sounds stupid to me. Like, I liked the parts where you kind of started to see like him do creepy things, and then you're like, oh, this part's cool. But I feel like the whole he came from an asteroid, he's trying to get to his alien ship kind of thing. I'm like, well, unless you're going to say that this is the alternate story of Superman, then I'm kind of just mad that you stole that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. I want him to not... I want whoever wrote this, I don't know if James Gunn wrote it or not, but he definitely produced it. I want it to be not explained. I don't want them to say like, oh, he's from Krypton or something to make that tie.
No, but I think if they don't explain it, it just sounds like you copied Superman's origin story. Then I think it's really lame.
But I think that it's cool in the sense that it copies Superman's origin story, but the other way. So there was a comic. But
it's only innovative if you nod to the fact that you are playing off of Superman's origin story, but making it different. But if you just say, oh no, I'm not going to give you an origin story, this is just what it is, then I'm like, okay, so you're really not innovative at all, and you're just stealing the Superman story.
I get where you're coming from, and I think that's the difference where you didn't like Chronicle and I like Chronicle. I think that it pulled too many threads from other superhero stories, but it didn't give them proper credit, and I think that's what you didn't like about it, is that if you're going to be a superhero movie, just say you're a superhero movie. Where I enjoyed that, I was thinking it's kind of the peripheral superhero movie. It's a superhero movie that's not a superhero movie, and I like it because the scene, like, I agree with you. If someone told me that this was the premise, I'd be like, okay, it sounds kind of lame, but cool. But they did it in a really well done way, and he is drawing inspiration, I'm assuming, from, I think it was called Superman Red or Red Superman or something, where it was the alternate version of what if Superman landed in Russia during the Cold War and was raised with communism rather than with good old American values.
You understand what I'm saying in the sense that I think the whole idea from what we gathered is great. My only problem is if they don't acknowledge that that's what they're doing.
So you're saying, I get what you're saying. You want them to at least just somewhere in there, whether it be visually or by exposition, someone say that Superman... Or
even if the director says, hey, this is where we got this idea. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be in the movie.
Well, it would be beneficial. They could even show Superman could exist in comic form, not as like a person, a fictional comic in the universe. It could be set in real universe, and someone could draw that conclusion, or a kid be reading a Superman, or he reads the Superman
just
comic,
some nod
and
to
that's why he decides he wants the red cape and hood and everything. Like, you could do it, and it wouldn't add or subtract anything to me, but it would add to some people like you. Yeah. They're like, just give a little bit of a nod. So I'm excited. I don't remember if I saw a release date for it, but if there is, it'll be at the end of the trailer that we're going to play right now. So thanks for doing this, Stoked on this with me.
Of course.
And are you stoked on anything or not really? These are all
No, those are all ones that they're really good.
Cool. Well, go check all that stuff out. Can't wait for Avengers Endgame, and here's a trailer.
You are a gift. I know it's been difficult for you lately that you feel different from other kids. You are different. After your dad and I got married, we prayed for a baby for so long. One night, someone listened. Brandon? You are special. We believe that you came here for a reason. He was in the barn.
Did he find it?
No. It was like he was drawn to it.
He may look like us, He's not like us.